guys, I'm going to show you how to mess around with dip tubes today. I have a floating dip tube that I want to install, so I figured it'd be a pretty good time to just kind of show you how to get a dip tube off, put one on, mess with your posts, and eventually install a floating dip tube. These things are supposed to make your beer clearer because you're not pulling from the bottom where all the yeast settles. And I don't do secondary fermentation. I don't transfer to a second vessel to clarify or anything really. I cold crash in my kegs. So this should help me out without like having to dump the first. I usually honestly dump like 32 ounces after I've cold crashed. And it sucks. And then you don't really get great beer until you get like halfway through the keg. And I'm tired of that. I usually make my husband drink the first half of the keg and then I'll get some in the end. But I would like to be able to drink it from the beginning and enjoy it. So we're gonna install one of these guys. I actually have one sanitizing in this keg right now. So I washed this out yesterday. So to take off your posts, which is how you get to your dip tube, you are going to need a drill, and depending on what kind of posts you have, you'll need one of two kind of bits. So this is a bit that is meant for pin lock kegs, which the attachments look like this, and this is what the posts look like. So that's a fancy one. I ordered this off More Beer, and then you just get a little bit that goes in it, but this one doesn't fit because I'm not using it. Or if you have a ball lock keg, you can just use a deep socket. Just got this one at a local hardware store, super cheap. So I'm just gonna grab the dip tube that I threw in here to sanitize. And obviously I'm gonna have to re-sanitize everything once I'm done. Okay, so here's the components of the floating dip tube. So it's got a line, and then I actually didn't read instructions, so I hope I'm doing this right, but what I believe should happen is you put the tube, if I can get it on, you put the tube on the post that's connected to the ball. That's like, this ball's hollow, so it's got some air in it and it'll float. It's annoying. And then the other side goes on the dip tube side, but I think I gotta stick this in first and then get it, which seems like it's gonna be a nightmare. And I got this floating dip tube on More Beer. I'll link to it below. It was kind of an impulse buy when they were doing their like holiday sales and stuff. So to get these posts off, I'm only changing the liquid valve, the liquid line post. So I'm only going to do the one without the notches on it. If you're just changing your post in general, like got a new keg and want to either switch to ball lock, switch to pin lock, whatever. When I first got mine, I switched them all to, I think I switched them all to pin lock for some reason, and then I switched them all back to ball lock because I had some mistakes happen with the pin locks where I lost about 5 gallons of beer on my floor. So you just basically, unscrew them. It's very, very easy, and then we can pull them out. This one's now stuck in my drill. Come out. There we go. All right, that one was not on very tight. I've had some that are almost impossible to get off. So these, when you have a fully together post, it's got a washer, it's got it's got a spring in it with another washer, and that's what holds this closed. Keeps it liquid tight and airtight. And then, yeah, it screws on, very easy. And then there's another washer on your post. So this is a liquid post. This is what is in your keg. Basically, I'm going to replace it with a short one that gets a tube on it. So what I'm going to do to get this on better is throw some lube on it. I have this CIP film that I use for all my kegs. I highly suggest you get some because if you spring an air leak in your keg just from the gasket, it can stop your air from leaking out if you put enough on. And if if it's kind of an emergency, if I have weird O-rings, usually you're going to want to replace them. They're really cheap, so may as well and not run the risk. All right, that's on there. Okay. So that's on much better. And I'm just going to, basically all you do is, I'm actually going to throw some lube on there. Throw some lube on there, drop it in. Very easy. I'm gonna try to get this on before I screw it down, but it might be a bad idea. This is gonna suck. Alrighty, cool. Let's see if I can get you guys to see it. It's in there on the thing. Okay, so now all we do is put the post back on. It's so bizarre. Never had one really spin like that. You kind of got to push it in because it's got a spring in it. And that should be good. I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. I'm going to tighten my gas post just while I'm here. Cool. So now I'm going to just transfer this beer into here and hope it works out well. So you can do the exact same process with the pin locks. It's just a different socket, essentially, that has cutouts. So now I'm going to re-sanitize my keg. Make sure that tubing's all sanitized. And then I'm going to purge it with CO2 and just transfer it in. Okay, so I'm going to try a trick for this transfer, which I'm not really going to explain the transfer, but someone suggested this trick where instead of running CO2 into my fermenter and just have the CO2 that's in the keg like go into the air, as a cost-saving measure, we're going to run this line into the fermenter itself so that the CO2 that's in here, which I'm going to refill it, will basically go into the fermenter as this fills. So the same amount of CO2 that's being displaced from here should be filling here, and it should work out. I'm really excited about this. I never would have thought about it. So we'll see if it works. This is my Road Sody IPA that I'm filling right now. Okay, so I think we're ready to transfer. All right, I'm gonna do this at the same time. That may have just gotten some trub in there more than anything, but so now this keg is depressurized, which is fine. But this has got a nice layer of CO2 on it, and it's transferring. So I'm excited to, this beer smells amazing, by the way. I'm excited to see how well the floating dip tube works, because like this is kind of an opaque line, but it doesn't look 100% clear just from sitting. It hasn't been sitting for very long. I mean, besides my vacation, but I did just dry hop it, so yeah. And I will follow up with a review of the Road Sody, and we'll be able to see how clear it is. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Keep giving me tips about how to change my system. I've already used a few tips that you guys have suggested in the comments, and it's really fun to be able to kind of share those with everyone else and show you how to do them on video. And like, you guys come up with stuff that I've never even thought of, so you guys are actually better brewers than I am, I think, sometimes. All right, see you next time.